Don't diss sandwiches. All right. That was enough time. So let's talk about this Booktok controversy that came up over the past couple of days. There's more to it, but long story short, basically fans, right, of the Kraken basically said it's not cool to
pee your pants.
Yeah, lust after Kraken players. And this is kind of the official breakdown of what happened with Alex Wennberg, his wife Felicia, and something called Booktok. So Joey, since I don't want to talk about this necessarily out loud, you kind of go through and on your end explain what the controversy was.
Yeah, and I think it's important to kind of set this up with a little bit of information, like exactly what is Booktok. So for people that are unfamiliar with it, or maybe even TikTok in general. So this all stems from TikTok, right? I don't know, a very popular, you can argue the most popular social media application. It's all short form videos, otherwise known as TikToks. Booktok is basically a sub community that exists on TikTok that focuses strictly on like books and literature. So you basically can go on TikTok and make videos about pretty much anything. Like, I ate a cheeseburger a day and now I'm going to have a drink somewhere. That's actually just kind of what I do. Anyways, so Booktok again focuses on books and literature. So what happens is like the creators that are involved in Booktok, they will like basically like review, discuss, and talk about books. Hence the name Booktok. Kind of just all makes sense. So a part of Booktok that's very, very popular is adult erotica. That's a very popular just like a subgenre within a subgenre of Booktok. There's this thing that started coming about that actually started years ago, like primarily within movies and video games, called fan casting. And within the Booktok community, it's actually called face claiming. So what you're doing is like you're on Booktok and you're making a video talking about like some adult erotica, whatever that you just read. Face claiming is when you assign like a real life person to a fictional character. So like you're discussing a book that you read. And again, we're talking specifically erotica here because this is how it all went down with the Kraken. And in this case, individuals started face claiming Alex Wennberg. So they're basically like inputting him into like these fictional books and Booktok. And it became a very trending thing. As a result of this, there were a lot of videos of Wennberg that were then starting to be shared beyond, the Seattle Kraken and the NHL kind of community online. Like the Booktok community was sharing videos of Wennberg. A lot of it is like stuff of him stretching, right? Like doing like the groin stretch before games and stuff like that, and sharing it on social media. And honestly, like the lusting part, I don't have an issue with that, but there's obviously like a fine line. Like if you find someone attractive, so what, man? Fucking have at it. We all have eyes. I get it. Like, I'm a straight male. I look at Wennberg, that's a beautiful man. Like I have no qualms with me saying that. That's just how I roll. But it's one of those things where it started to be shared. And at first it kind of was like, it was kind of towing the line, but it was still okay. Like within the boundaries of things that are acceptable. However, it started to become just a slightly problematic because as these videos started to really trend, the Seattle Kraken, as a result, started gaining a lot of followers. So the organization actually starts paying attention to it. The organization's like, holy crap, look at all these followers. What's going on here? They get behind like the whole Booktok movement. And like one of, if not the main creator behind all of this, her name is Kiera Lewis. Not only was the team, supportive of Booktok and specifically around Alex Wennberg, again, beautiful man, but they also they flew out Kiera Lewis to a game last season at Climate Pledge Arena. They gave her a jersey that had Booktok on it. So the team is really good about seeing what's going on and what's up to date with social media trends and all of that, and wanting to kind of wrap their arms around it and kind of embrace the community and show that they are supportive of fans. Which, by the way, Jeff, that just makes me think we got to reach out to they're flying out this individual, Kiera Lewis, to a game and giving her a Booktok jersey. What the fuck? We can get on an Alaska Airlines flight tomorrow if they want us to. So we need to have some conversations around the Seattle Kraken. Anyways,
correct.
Long story short, though, this got way out of hand, to put it lightly. Like the videos of him stretching, all that stuff. There was a hashtag and a phrase that was being thrown around and kind of got trending with Alex Wennberg, which is crack my back, like KRAK, like blow my back out. Like I want to fuck this dude. Right. I mean, that's essentially what they're saying. Let's call a spade a spade. And that's where it starts getting weird. Because, again, this stuff starts trending. There are so many new fans of I say fans of the Seattle Kraken, but there are, these Booktok members who are looking at Alex Wennberg and posting this stuff. The crack my back thing starts trending. It goes from comments online to now he is receiving direct messages from people. Will you crack my back, and all sorts of sexually explicit things. And it gets to the point where I don't think he's paying that much attention to social media, but his wonderful wife, his, life partner, Felicia Wennberg, is. And she basically got to a point where she's like, I've had enough. Like, this is, ridiculous. Like, he's married. I am his wife. We're tired of seeing this stuff. And, if you want to comment and tell my husband that he's beautiful, that's one thing. And I think I don't have the quote pulled up in front of me, and maybe you do, Jeff. I'm not exactly sure, but there was a quote where she was, very earnest about everything. And she was like, hey, if you want to tell my husband that he's a beautiful man, go for it. She's like, I think he's the most beautiful human I've ever seen. Like, I think he's a great guy. I totally agree with you. However, when we start getting these weird comments and now direct messages, and people are attacking us because we're married and saying very sexually explicit things, now that's sexual harassment. And I completely back her on it. I apologize for being a little bit too serious on the topic. It's not an easy one to discuss, but it's one of those things where it's I completely, I do agree 100% with what she's saying. And I have some quotes from some of the individuals that were on Booktok, and they've been blurred out to kind of protect their online identity. I'm not into doxing or calling people out. So that's not what I'm about. But this stuff is very, very problematic. And I think Felicia, again, Alex Wennberg's wife, has done a very good job of handling this. And I have to say a quick note, really quick, and I'm not calling out anybody specifically. I will say that you and I have been entrenched in Seattle Kraken media now for 2.5 years, which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Going to the third season already. Where the hell does time go? There are some individuals that have said some shit online that I've seen with my own eyes that are now yeah, Team Felicia, go girl, defend your man. And I'm like, motherfucker, I have seen you share some stuff that is beyond the realm of this guy's hot. So that's all I'm going to say. Chickadee, check yourself. If you're just, getting on, Team Felicia now, because it's obviously she's on the right side of this. This is a very black and white thing. But if you're trying to virtue signal now and be yeah, this is harassment, receipts are there. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not out here trying to be let's cancel this person. I'm not about that life at all. People make mistakes. I hope that this is a giant learning lesson for people, but this has been a very interesting kind of a subtopic that has developed, and we've seen developing now for quite some time with Alex Wennberg.
100%. Number one, Joey, great job. The reporter in you did an excellent job of explaining all of this craziness, right? So that's a nice little recap of it. Second, Nicole Cutmore, she's the one that started this by taking the screen captures of Felicia Wennberg's Instagram story and putting it out there. She's a Kraken Pod Fam member. She tweets with us.
Shout out to Nicole.
So she's the one that kind of pushed this to the Twitter community that made this thing, turned the tide on this. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, look, to be honest, is I don't really think much about it.
Same, but we're also not.
No.
We're not really in the thing.
Not this. What I'm saying is, I don't think much about this. What I'm going to say is, it is a double standard. I don't. Yes. If I see dudes doing creepy stuff, right? And I got kids everywhere, so I'm trying, dudes doing creepy stuff online and doing that's terrible. Women get mistreated by guys like crazy, right? But there is a double standard where it's totally. And I maybe I should think more about it. I don't know. I'm just kind of I don't think about it. But in professional sports, you see women doing that with guys, and it's seen as harmless. It's seen as and I think for the most part it is. This is kind of culturally who we are, at least here in the United States, and how we do these things. It's like, it's mostly innocent. It's what happens, and it's just accepted. The double standard is accepted.
Yes.
I think on the fourth point now, Felicia Wennberg, in her details of what she wrote in this story, she said, and I don't have the exact details, but she's very smart. Like, she basically said she wrote her college thesis on like harassment, which is
that's a great point that I forgot to mention. Good point.
She eloquently stated, which ironically I didn't say eloquently, right? She eloquently stated, like, I don't think this is necessarily right. And I think the fact that, I think it's okay to be like, oh man, look at this, look at this attractive person, right? And saying a couple of things like, oh, I really, that's fine. It's part of it.
Yes.
Part of it. But the people that went over the top, the Booktok thing, the DMing the players, that's skanky. DMing, him DMing other players and trying to, like, which is what she calls out, is basically like shoot their shot.
Yes.
And then say nasty things to her and all that sort of stuff, is like, look,
accusing her of cheating, which I'm like, what the hell? Yeah. It's so
toxicity.
Yes.
Toxicity in sports goes beyond he, she, all the way they, them, everyone. So there's, it's just like anything else, is like, there's always toxic people in any community. And it's good that this has been called out, and it's good that there's a little bit of distancing from this, because, I don't know if you know this, Joey, but I don't have Alex Wennberg's problem, which is I'm being very, just looking right at him. Like,
well, you haven't seen your DMs from me yet, so let's not.
Oh yeah, sweet. I know I constantly get in DMs all the time to my personal account from Kraken Pod Fam members, just like,
if you're up,
shooting their shot, yeah. But he looks like he could be in a modeling magazine. I mean, the dude has got the classic, like, just good looks.
Yeah,
and
steel blue eyes, like the beautiful hair. He is a beautiful, beautiful man. We have made comments about how we find him attractive on multiple occasions. I'm also not saying I would go gay for this dude, crack my back. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to be like egregious with this or anything like that. But like, there's a fine line there between, like you said, like complimenting someone's looks and acknowledging that you find them personally attractive, versus taking it to the point of sexual harassment and then, commenting and DMing and taking a part in this and, zooming in on him while he's doing stretches and poses that are, for him necessary to perform his duties and responsibilities as a professional athlete. And you're taking that, and it's like, it's sexual exploitation. It's freaking weird, man. I thought about, I'm sorry if I cut you off there. I thought about like the double standard. And I was like, what if I were watching like a U.S. women's soccer game? And I'm going to apologize in advance for this example, but like, this is the reality of kind of the situation, like the seriousness of it. If I'm watching a U.S. women's soccer game and I'm like, man, I think Alex Morgan is beautiful, and end statement.
She is. Yeah.
Cool. One thing. Now, if I'm watching a U.S. women's soccer match, and I don't even know if she's still playing anymore because I'm so out of touch with shit.
She is.
This is an example.
No,
and she's on the field and she's stretching, right? And I'm there, and I have my phone and I'm zooming in on her, and I'm like, man, Alex Morgan would love to get up in that. That is the equivalent of what's happening with that. Like, now I have taken it from being a sincere compliment, like, oh, I think you're very beautiful and I admire you as a professional athlete. And now I'm taking it, and I'm taking what you're doing in your profession, and I'm taking it to the point of sexual harassment, and then I'm making comments to like further, kind of double down on that. And that's where it's completely fucking unacceptable. If I were to do that, you were to do that, or whatever, like double standard. Holy shit, man. I mean, this thing gets shut down in 2 seconds. And I think we really need to start paying attention to this. And I'm glad that Felicia called it out. And like you said, she did so in a very eloquent way. She was very respectful with her words. She wants to just be with her husband and enjoy their time together, not worry about him getting harassed 24/7, which unfortunately that's going to be a part of it. I mean, like, the dude's a professional athlete. He's a very beautiful man. There's going to be people DMing him no matter what. But this is unacceptable, and it had to be called out.
It did. And I give props to her. I give props to look, the Kraken PR and the Kraken marketing team, they're just trying to do their best to, like, spread the love for the Kraken, and they're trying to appeal to audiences. And, like, I don't think this is something that somebody should be canceled over. This is something where it's like, okay, yeah, it's just they're trying to appeal to things. And
Yes.
for it's good to step back and go like, oh, okay, well, you know what, some of this stuff can be a little over the top, and maybe we shouldn't go there, right? So, this is bigger than the Seattle Kraken too. I mean, it's just
Yes.
who we are, and it's also too, just like, don't be an insane, over the top, really, like, fan in any way, right? It's probably not the best to obsess over certain people. I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah.
it's just, I'm glad we talked about it. Great job talking about this. I think that when it comes to women, people who are of all kinds, who are going to stare at hockey players, it's always gonna be a thing. And I think it's okay to be like, oh, well, look at that, but just don't be a turd about it. Don't be going after um, players' wives and DMing players. But that's just like, that should be without saying, right? Like, just in general, it's like, just
Yes.
in our society, 90% of us are pretty decent people that make mistakes, and then the other 10%, bunch of turds. So, you know what I mean? Maybe it's more than that.
Yeah. And you know what, and to credit the organization, I don't think they saw this, going to this particular point, because they have since, like, kind of unfollowed and detached themselves from the whole book talk trend that's been going on, because I think they also recognize this as being problematic when they have a member of the organization's wife reaching out and being like, guys, what the fuck is going on? I mean, she
Right.
did not say that. I said
Yeah.
that. But I think it's right. And you see some of the backlash from the individuals that were taking part in this. Like, and again, these individuals, like, their profile photos have been blocked out. They're not sharing usernames. So we're not here to call anybody out. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to, like, shut anybody's internet down or anything like that. I don't care that much. I think this is a big learning lesson. But there are people out there that just still don't get it. Like, this was one of the, again, just a couple of comments here. One of the individuals who's obviously a part of Book Talk and was participating in all of this when the Seattle Kraken started to kind of separate themselves, the comment was, and just like that, you've lost a majority of your fans, by, in all caps. First off, no offense, get fucked. Like, if you really think, like, for like this organization came to the Pacific Northwest after we've waited freaking decades and decades and decades for a professional hockey team. If you think that Book Talk is where the majority of Seattle Kraken fans come from, then you are delusional in your thinking to begin with. But please, like, by all means, like, the jungle corrects itself. Weed yourself out. I think that comment is just so ridiculous. But some of these comments, and I'm not going to read all of them, but, like, they're particularly, like, angry and doubling down. Like, there's one that's, and quote, just because you are a WAG, W-A-G, parentheses, wife and girlfriend, which I didn't know was a term, doesn't mean you can come for people who thirst over your man. Team crack my back. So it's stuff like that where it's like, it's so unnecessary. I'm not going to read any more comments. It is a troll. And it's just one of those things where it's like, again, the jungle corrects itself. I'm very happy for these people to weed themselves out by their behavior. I think Felicia handled it appropriately. Wennberg, I think, himself has been pretty mute on this subject. I don't think he's very active on socials or anything like that. It sounds like Felicia is being a boss and just kind of handling it. And the organization is stepping away from it as well. But yeah, it has been a big controversy. If you're listening and you haven't been made aware of it, hopefully we have, like, shed some light on the topic. But it has been something that's been going on in the Seattle Kraken community for quite some time.
She, great PR move. She can say it. Maybe he can't. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's his life. Like,
it's just typical things that are meant to be harmless and are mostly accepted in culture. There's always somebody that takes it too far, and then so it hopefully got corrected, and that's pretty much it. So
yeah.
Great job. Let us know what you're thinking and what's up, and let's get back to having some fun. I think people are ready for hockey. Let's get back to hockey, and people are sitting there just sweltering and festering and getting angry. We're ready for hockey. So